All right, so this was an interesting match, and I thought we came out and we played well in the first two sets. Oregon State didn't play very well, but we were able to block the pin hitters really effectively in the first two sets, and then starting in set three, they started using our outside hands and things like that, and that was starting to, it kept the game closer. They quit hitting as many unforced hitting errors, and they were getting kills. Then they started using their middles and getting some kills, and they really rebalanced their entire offense starting in the third set. And, from a serving standpoint, I thought we continued to serve tough. I just think Oregon State started honing in on them and passing our balls better. The last set, again, was another really close one we sided out at 81%. They sided out at 72%. Those are both really good numbers. They had a few more errors. We blocked some balls there, and that was the difference in that set, because they actually had more kills than we did. We needed to play those tight sets like that, and I told my team we needed to play that, and then when it came down to those tight sets, I was the one who was losing my mind out there. But the players stayed composed, and they did the right things at the right times, and we kept a lead that entire fourth set, and made plays when we needed to. So it was really good.
How do you, as a team, stay motivated when losing a match, or one set?
I think just losing one set is like the biggest motivator in itself. Just when you're down, you want to get out of that and kind of prove to yourself that you can win the next one.
Tom, you guys were able to secure the win, get to your best record since 2014 out of conference. I mean, how vital is that when, maybe your conference doesn't get quite as respected?
Yeah, it's really important. It's now an RPI game from here to the end. Our job will be to win the Mountain West Conference, and then the math sort of works itself out. But going 10-1, is that what we did? That's good. That's really good, and that's going to help us. We're going to, we'll maintain a national ranking, which is good. So all those things are good for us, and I think these guys really took care of business in the non-conference, and I'm really impressed.
And you did it with a pretty tough schedule.
Yeah, it was a pretty tough schedule. Yeah, I think I think Florida State's going to end up being a lot better than people realize. I think Cal Poly's going to end up being a lot better than people realize. So yeah, it was pretty tough.
Katie and Paulina, how much does it mean to you guys? Because you guys are, in your final year. How much does it mean to you? It can't start much better than we did.
Yeah, we've been honestly starting a little rough, and I think we've been both overthinking it a little too much. So I don't know. Tonight we were just relaxed, and we just connect when we do that, when we don't think about it.
Can either of you think back to that loss at Cal and how different this team is now since then? What do you think is the biggest change?
I think we have a lot more sense of maturity out there on the court, and it took us the Cal game and even the Oklahoma game to kind of get into our groove, I think.
Kind of that why not us type mentality. Bree talked about it. I mean, how big is that in a match like this when it is your third in 3 days? You could easily, just lay off, not take this third one. How big is that mentality?
Yeah, it's huge. It really comes down to that because we're all physically drained right now, but it comes down to the mental game at this point. So I think going in with that why not us mentality is awesome and really motivates us.
Katie, you've obviously been here long enough to be through some Mountain West seasons and all. Just knowing how important this non-conference is, do you think that registered a lot with this team that, seedings, everything at the end of the year goes back to what we did way back in August and September?
Definitely. And last 3 years, we've gotten down to that selection show for the NCAA and kind of been on edge sometimes. So this year we wanted to secure that spot.
Tom, you guys now enter your part of the schedule where there's a target on your back for each match.
Oh, yeah.
How huge is conference play going to be, and what are you kind of doing?
Well, it's interesting. I think this is a year where there's a lot of unknowns in the Mountain West, and we will have a target on our back. And, three things happen. One is we're playing teams that play us a lot and know us. Number two, they bring their A games every time. The teams we play in the Mountain West, especially in their gyms. And number 3, now there's a whole plethora of statistical and video stuff people can study. And the longer the season goes on, the more they start to see patterns. So it makes, coaches are pretty good when they get to see all that information. So, and we'll get the same advantage, but it's going to be, it's going to be a typical conference season for us. We're going to go places and it's going to be tough to win. We'll probably, I think we should win all of our home matches certainly, but, I'd like to, go through the conference and beat everybody. I think that'd give us a good chance to host in the NCAAs.
Looking forward, how many similarities do you see from this team to that 2014 team that had that best record?
Well, I think both teams had great balance. I think that both teams have great setting. We had bigger middles than Paulina, but not as big as Steve, so they were both kind of this relatively good-sized kids. I don't like to make comparisons, to be quite honest, because that was a great team, 2014. This is a great team, and I think we can do the same things.
You guys set the block record last night, you blocked well tonight. Just how important is that as you go on in the season to really develop that block?
It's really important, and this is Dree Culbert's area, and what she's been able to get us to stuff more balls than we were last year. And Luke Murray was a good blocking coach, but Dree is getting our technical hand position better, and she's insisting on it, and it's happening, and we're stuffing more balls because of that.